Trust is Failing on Both Sides of the Pond, authored by Tom Luongo, on Zero Hedge by Tyler Durden. I've been warning for a while now, we're pushing towards an inflection point in history. With each passing week, it feels like events are accelerating as change to the status quo is everywhere. In Europe, the EU leadership and Theresa May are so desperate to stop Brexit they can't stop lying about everything. In one day, we have May's government found in contempt of Parliament for not releasing the full legal advice of her Brexit deal, and the European Court of Justice pronounced that the UK can unilaterally cancel Brexit if it wants to. I'm just going to summarize this because it's a long article. At the same time, France is literally on fire thanks to a good old-fashioned tax revolt, which reviled, unprepared, and arrogant President Emmanuel Macron cannot fathom. Macron's handling of the protests has been abysmal, displaying a level of contempt for the French people so profound he may wind up more hated in the end than Theresa May. This is not a linear thing. It's the kind of situation that goes from murmurs and shrugs to outright violence in a matter of days, especially when you come out and tell the very nationalistic French people that nationalism is akin to evil. In Macron's case, raising the tax on diesel fuel was a bridge too far. Pathetic global warming, globalist ideologue that he is, he castigates the people who are materially harmed by this tax as thugs and then doubles down when they get even madder. So it's no surprise that his calling a moratorium for 6 months was rejected by the protesters. They know they cannot trust Macron. With France's tax rates already nearly the highest in the so-called First World, the burden, that is the EU, the burden of this tax would have fallen heaviest on the people, just barely surviving existing ruinous government policy. All taxes are marginally regressive, even progressive income taxes. And Macron tried to sell himself as a reformer, and there's nothing unique about raising taxes in France. If Macron wanted to be novel, he would have lowered fuel taxes. The less said about Theresa May, and the better, but just so everyone is clear, May gave the EU everything they wanted, not because she's a bad negotiator, but because she's a bad liar. Every day she lies, telling everyone who will listen, and that number is dropping daily, that she's working for the British people. No, she is not. She's working for the British ruling class and its entrenched bureaucracy, who are in league with their counterparts in Brussels to erect an unassailable oligarchy across Europe. May, Juncker, Tusk, and Merkel have intentionally run the clock out while doing the political calculus on the Tories, are so scared of a Labour taking over that they'll all roll over in the end, hold their noses and vote for this complete sell out of what's left of British sovereignty. But if you think I've been harsh to this point, I've saved the best of my own so-called President Donald Trump. For a while I gave Trump the benefit of the doubt, thinking he was doing his best, beset by a US political establishment which is the worst kind of cruel. But after the fiasco in the midterms and his systematic capitulation to all things neoconservative, Trump has become a parody of himself on foreign policy by allowing the paranoid John Bolton to convince Trump that everything neocon is in the interest of America first. Trump has now embraced every foreign policy lie he campaigned against. His own lack of moral center has led to his having a complete lack of moral courage in confronting the vast apparatus arrayed against him, to the point where he does not announce policy decisions that he knows are unpopular with not only his base but also the center of the country he needs to get re-elected in 2020. He leaves that job to the disgusting and stupid Mike Pompeo. Trump's need to be liked is his Achilles heel, and it's been used by the deep state to destroy him. Hence, Russia's new weapons now are something the US cannot deal with, so they counter them with the INF treaty has to go. It's regrettable, a shame, bad, whatever. Trump tweets out about it. The imperial power always grows increasingly paranoid that everyone is out to destroy them, because the imperial power knows in its heart that it's awful, that it has abused and destroyed people the world over, and they are angry. They know this is true, and because they want revenge, they expect everyone else to want the same thing. The politically strong dictate and only negotiate out of weakness, leaving the IMF treaty while leaving the door open to a deal is an admission that Russia's weapons have to be countered by breaking the treaty to put missiles on Russia's doorstep, because Bolton can't conceive of a day where Russia and the US are not adversaries. But Trump is beyond that. He told us of his hatred for Iran on the campaign trail, and all Bolton and Mattis and the rest of the gang that can't invade straight had to do was to sell Trump on the tired canard that more death, more troops, more weapons is the path to victory. Trump is so desperate for a couple of tenths of GDP, he sold out his people for this. He'll stay in office just long enough to go from savior to villain, just like every other potential U.S. reformer. And confidence lost is never gained. Once the public trust is breached, it's never regained. And that's where rapid societal change sprouts from, catching those who think they are in control off guard completely, like Macron was over the diesel protests. But moral courage is willing to be the villain, to stand athwart the crowd and risk your reputation for what you believe in. This is why the Tories in Parliament will vote for May's Brexit deal. They don't want to be blamed for the mess of a hard Brexit they fear. This is why Macron will implement the worst neoliberal policies. He doesn't want to be called a traitor by the media and oligarchy who made him. And it's why Trump will not make America great again. He was willing to drain the swamp as long as it did not cost him and his family his brand and his reputation. He was willing to talk the talk but not walk the walk. Now he just rambles on Twitter like a pathetic loser while Putin's prophecy about his presidency comes true. Presidents change, he said to Oliver Stone in the Putin interviews. Policy doesn't change. As we approach the moment where a critical mass of people sees the cost of maintaining this vacuum of moral courage we call a society rise above the benefits of it, the closer we are to the worst kind of chaos. An update on my channel's content. The content of videos that will be placed on my Patreon account will be more diverse, more specific, having to do with subjects that are deeply sourced and researched, such as, for example, what others may be saying concerning the recent California fires and other important facts that we should know. Now, this will not be put on the YouTube channel, but it will be on videos in my Patreon account. For those who are interested, please sign up there. Thank you. Kindly support my Patreon account, since that's the only way I can continue what you like seeing on this channel. Thank you. You'll find it in the description box below.